Chapter 716. We haven't reached the sacred mountain yet. It's too early to say that I'm the chosen one. I don't know how to awaken your ancient ancestor. Lu Ming smiled. Lu Ming, don't be humble. I have a feeling that you're the only one who can awaken the ancient ancestor in this trip to the sacred mountain. To be honest, if it weren't for the fact that you're an outsider and have to return one day, and that you have such a beautiful confidant like Miss Xia, I really want to keep you by my side and be my man. Qiyu blinked her big eyes and spoke very directly. Cough, cough. Lu Ming kept coughing. He didn't expect Qiyu to be so direct. Indeed, the underground humans were different from the outside world. On the side, Xian Yinqing's face turned slightly red as she said, I'm not his confidant. Miss Qiyu, please keep him as your man. This pervert will definitely be willing. Is that so? Then I won't be polite. Qiyu giggled and glanced at Lu Ming and Xian Yinqing. Pervert, hurry up and agree. Xian Yinqing stared at Lu Ming with his big eyes. Every sentence and every word was especially heavy. Ah, haha, this wine is really delicious. Haha, the moonlight today is really beautiful. Lu Ming picked up a cup of wine and took a big gulp. He laughed awkwardly. However, this was the underground world. Where did the moonlight come from? 2 days later, Lu Ming, Xian Yinqing, Qiyu, Qi Jinkong, Qi Jinshan, and a few elders of the Red Leopard tribe gathered at the canyon where the previous Red Leopard tribe leader was sealed. The Crimson Blood Sand and Viper Blood Mist were ready. Now, they could break the last 36 sealing formations. Lu Ming strode forward and waved his hand. A cloud of crimson blood sand floated in the air. Then he took out a jade bottle that contained the Viper Blood Mist. He opened the jade bottle and the crimson blood mist flew out and mixed with the crimson blood sand. Then, Lu Ming's finger moved rapidly in the air. It was so fast that afterimages appeared in the air. Whoosh, whoosh. Inscriptions attached themselves to the scarlet blood sand and the Viper Blood Mist and flew into the sealing formation in front of them. Everyone held their breaths and watched quietly. Qi Jinkong and the others had expectant looks in their eyes. However, there was one exception, and that was Qi Jinshan. His eyes were filled with anxiety, and his gaze flickered. 1. The sealing formation flickered, and a huge 7-colored poisonous snake pounced out. However, the 7-colored poisonous snake was shrouded in a layer of blood-red mist. Bang! The 7-colored poisonous snake collapsed in midair. The first of the last 36 great formations had been broken. Lu Ming continued to decipher. His fingers continuously moved, and the scarlet blood sand and the Viper Blood Mist were continuously consumed. Not long after, the second formation was broken. Just like this, one great formation after another was broken by Lu Ming. Lu Ming had to sit down cross-legged to recover his spiritual fire every time he cracked 9 formations. In the blink of an eye, 2 days had passed. There was only one formation left in the 36 great formations. Qi Jinshan and the others widened their eyes and stared at it. Their eyes were filled with excitement, and even their breathing became heavy. Qi Jinshan clenched his fists and slowly moved to the front, close to Lu Ming's position. As Lu Ming's finger moved, inscriptions fell on the ground one after another. Hiss! This time, a total of 3 7-colored poisonous snakes flew out and collapsed in midair. The seal is broken. God bless my Red Leopard tribe. Qi Jinshan shouted, and was the first to move. He rushed directly into the valley. Lu Ming's eyes turned cold. He took a step forward, and a vine rushed out and entangled Qi Jinshan. What's going on? Lu Ming, it's you. What are you doing? Qi Jinshan roared. Why are you in such a hurry? Lu Ming sneered and rushed into the valley. Qi Jinshan roared. A puppet appeared and broke the vines. He also rushed in. At the same time, Qi Jinshan and the others also rushed into the valley. The valley was not big. Not long after they rushed in, Lu Ming saw a skeleton sitting cross-legged against the wall. Lu Ming saw at a glance that the skeleton was holding a jade pendant in one of its claws. There was also a storage ring on its finger. Get lost! Qi Jinshan roared. Lu Ming sneered. His genuine vitality swept out and took the jade pendant from the skeleton's storage ring into his hand. Lu Ming, what are you doing? You want to steal the treasure of the previous tribe leader? You're courting death. Qi Jinshan's eyes turned cold. He controlled the puppet and charged at Lu Ming.
Clang.
At this time, another puppet rushed out and blocked Qi Jinshan's puppet. It was Qi Jinshan's turn. Tribe leader, don't block me. You should have seen that this kid has ulterior motives. He wants to steal the treasures of the previous tribe leader. Qi Jinshan roared. Qi Jinshan, why are you in such a hurry? Who said that I want to steal the treasures of the previous tribe leader? I'm just handing it to the tribe leader. Lu Ming waved his hand, and the jade pendant and storage ring flew to Qi Jinshan. Qi Jinshan caught it in his hand. Tribe leader Qi, that jade pendant should be left behind by the previous tribe leader before his death. It should contain some important information. Why don't you take a look? Lu Ming said with a smile. Qi Jinshan's face was gloomy. Qi Jinshan took the jade pendant and sent his spiritual force into it. His face changed drastically and became extremely ugly. Qi Jinshan's figure slowly moved outside. Elders, take down Qi Jinshan. Qi Jinshan suddenly roared. Although the elders were stunned, they did not hesitate. Puppets appeared and surrounded Qi Jinshan in the middle. Tribe leader, what is the meaning of this? Qi Jinshan's face was extremely ugly. What is the meaning of this? Haha, Qi Jinshan, I really didn't expect that you were the one who betrayed the previous tribe leader. If not for that, how could the previous tribe leader be besieged and fall? Before the previous tribe leader died, he recorded everything in this jade pendant. Qi Jinshan, how should you punish yourself? Qi Jinshan roared, his eyes turning red. His heart ached. He had never thought that Qi Jinshan would betray the previous tribe leader. Lu Ming nodded. It was as he had expected. When Qi Yu brought him here and told him that he could break the seal, Qi Jinshan objected with all his might. He even tried to find a reason to kill Lu Ming. It was strange in itself. The others were hoping that Lu Ming could break the seal and let Lu Ming try. Only Qi Jinshan tried his best to stop him. It was as if he was afraid that Lu Ming would break the seal. Hence, Lu Ming had been on guard against him. When he was breaking the last array earlier, Lu Ming had been guarding against him. He used the array to stop him and snatched the items left behind by the previous chief of the Red Leopard tribe. If it landed in Qi Jinshan's hands first, he would definitely destroy the evidence. The elders' faces changed when they heard this. They looked at Qi Jinshan with gloomy faces. Ha ha ha. Chapter 7:17.
Why?
Why did you do that? Qi Jinkong asked. It's simple. The resources given to me by the Een Snake tribe and the Heavenly Wolf tribe were enough for me to break through several levels for hundreds of years. Why didn't I help them? What does the death of the previous chief have to do with me? What does the decline of the Red Leopard tribe have to do with me? Anyway, it's not my turn to inherit the position of chief.
Ha ha ha.
Qi Jinshan laughed maniacally. Selfish.
Selfish.
Elders, take Qi Jinshan down, extinguish his spiritual fire, bring him back to the tribe, and execute him in public. Qi Jinkong gave the order. There was no suspense in this battle. The elders were all incomparably powerful. Under the joint forces of the elders, the pure gold mountain had no chance of resisting. Not long after, it was taken down. Its spiritual flame was extinguished and brought back to the Red Leopard tribe. Lu Ming did not care about what happened next. He focused on cultivating in seclusion, waiting for the truce in the underground world so that he could go to the sacred mountain. There was a 1-month truce in the underground world every year and half a month before and after the ancestor worship day. During the truce, no tribe was allowed to fight or kill people from other tribes. Anyone who violated this rule would be besieged by other tribes and turned into ashes. There was about half a month before the truce. Xian Yanqing was also cultivating in seclusion like Lu Ming. The Battle of Providence was getting closer and closer, and he felt a sense of urgency. It was said that the top 600 on the list of top 1,000 talents were all at the Sea Spirit Realm, and only a few were at the King realm. Whether it was Lu Ming or Xian Yinqing, they were far from being able to compete with Sea Spirit Realm geniuses. Lu Ming sat cross-legged in the Temple of Paragon, crushing one earth esoteric crystal after another. He was trying his best to improve the earth momentum. 7 days later, the earth momentum had reached perfection. Lu Ming directly used a mid-grade esoteric crystal to break through to the next level and condense a rune of intent. The earth momentum had successfully evolved to the first level of earth essence. However, this was far from enough. If he wanted to truly unleash a powerful battle prowess, he had to cultivate the concept of earth to perfection. Lu Ming continued to cultivate with the profound earth crystals. In the blink of an eye, another 7 days had passed. Lu Ming had cultivated the profound earth concept to level 1 small success. To increase his power at such a terrifying speed, he had to consume a large number of profound crystal stones. At this moment, it was finally the truce period in the underground world. The Red Leopard tribe was preparing to head to the sacred mountain. "Shao Qing, how's your harvest these days?" Lu Ming asked as he and Xian Yinqing strolled in the courtyard. Lu Ming asked, "My concept of wind has broken through to the second level. This time, I'm faster than you, right?" Xian Yinqing narrowed his eyes and giggled. "He broke through level 2? Lu Ming smiled bitterly. Xian Yinqing's talent was indeed terrifying. His concept of thunder, concept of wind, and concept of fire were all stuck at the limit of level 1. He was only a step away from level 2, but he couldn't break through. He hadn't expected that Xian Yinqing would already have a concept and break through to level 2. Xian Yinqing's cultivation base had already reached peak king. As long as his destruction concept broke through to level 2, Xian Yinqing would be able to open his spiritual sea and become a Sea of Soul Realm expert. Sea of Soul Realm experts were called Sea of Soul Realm experts and belonged to the first of the 3 realms of Spirit God. It wasn't something King Realm experts could compare to. It was definitely a qualitative leap. However, this step had trapped countless people. The two chatted as they walked. After a while, they arrived at a large plaza outside. A lot of people had already gathered here. One after another, huge cheetah puppets stopped in the plaza. "Lu Ming, Miss Xie, you're here. We're about to set off." Qi walked over and smiled. This time, Qi Jinkong was personally leading the group. He was accompanied by 2 tribe elders and more than 100 experts of the Red Leopard tribe.
Qi was also going.
Lu Ming waved his hand, and a huge cheetah puppet appeared on the ground. This cheetah puppet had battle prowess equivalent to the 4th layer of spiritual sea realm. It was a gift from the Red Leopard tribe. Lu Ming and Xian Yinqing leaped onto the cheetah puppet's back. "Everyone's here. Let's go." Qi Jinkong gave the order. Gales whistled as the cheetah puppet rose up and flew toward the north. Like Lu Ming, there were more than 100 people who came from outside the earth. They were going to the sacred mountain to participate in the test. The sacred mountain was north of the Red Leopard tribe, separated by dozens of large and small tribes. The distance was quite far, so they could only travel without rest. Along the way, no tribe stopped them. After 13 days of nonstop travel, they finally arrived at the foot of the sacred mountain and set up camp there. What a majestic mountain! Lu Ming stood at the foot of the mountain and looked ahead. A huge and majestic mountain stood between heaven and earth, straight into the sky, surrounded by clouds and mist. The mountain covered a large area. At the foot of the mountain, one could see one tribe after another, clearly separated. Like the Red Leopard tribe, they set up camp and waited for the outsiders to climb the mountain in 2 days. It was said that the ancient ancestor of the underground lived at the top of this mountain. People from the underground couldn't climb the mountain. It was said that only people from outside the earth could climb the mountain and go through the test. The one who finally reached the top of the mountain could awaken the ancient ancestor. Could this sacred mountain be the real location of the martial emperor's treasure? Lu Ming thought. He believed that not only him but most outsiders also thought so. Time flew by, and in the blink of an eye, 2 days had passed. On this day, a dense crowd appeared in all directions of the sacred mountain. "Lu Ming, Miss Xie, It is said that there is an endless inscription formation on the sacred mountain. You can't fly up, you can only climb it on foot. Qiyu said to Lu Ming. Lu Ming nodded. Let's go. A loud roar was heard. Lu Ming saw that people from another tribe had already rushed up the sacred mountain. Strangely, as soon as those people rushed up the sacred mountain, their figures disappeared. Sure enough, there was a formation on the sacred mountain. Whoosh, whoosh. However, not long after, Lu Ming saw that some people who had rushed and flew back from the inside. What's going on? What's going on inside? Someone hurriedly asked. You have to pass the tests inside, and experts with the same cultivation base as me will appear. Every time you pass a test, more and more experts will appear. When I fail, I will be bounced back. Someone sighed. It seems that there won't be any danger if you fail. Let's go. Then, even more people rushed into the mountain. Soon more people were bounced back. Some people from the Red Leopard tribe also rushed in, but they were bounced back soon. The situation they encountered was similar to the others. Experts with the same cultivation base as them appeared to fight with them. The more tests they passed, the more experts would appear later. Let's go, Lil Qing, Lu Ming said. Okay, be careful. Chapter 718. The surroundings suddenly changed. Lu Ming realized that he was standing on a platform. In front of the platform, there was a stone staircase that led upwards. There seemed to be another platform above it. What a mysterious array. I can't even find a trace of it. Lu Ming was quite shocked. With his current level of inscription, he couldn't even find a trace of it. The array here was definitely beyond the 5th grade. No, it was far beyond the 6th grade. It wasn't something he could pry into right now. Kid, the inscription array here is incredible. It was definitely set up by someone with extremely high attainments in inscription. Dandan looked left and right on Lu Ming's shoulder. There weren't many things that could make Dandan say such words.
Buzz.
At this moment, a figure suddenly appeared in front of Lu Ming. It was a muscular man in his 30s. He looked like a real person, but his expression was very cold. His voice was also very cold. As long as you can defeat me, you can go to the next levels.
Clang.
The sound of a sword rang out. Sword chi was rampant. A battle sword appeared in the muscular man's hand, and he slashed at Lu Ming. Peak King. Lu Ming's expression changed. The person who appeared was indeed at the same level as him, a Peak King. However, Lu Ming could kill martial artists at the same level as him in an instant. With a punch, the exploding fist light directly turned the figure into ashes. Lu Ming strode forward. He walked along the stone staircase and arrived at the second platform. This time, 2 figures appeared on the platform. The 2 figures looked exactly the same as the muscular man from before. Moreover, they were both Peak Kings. As long as you can defeat us, you can go to the next levels. As the voice faded, the sound of swords rang out. The 2 muscular men attacked Lu Ming at the same time. Their attacks formed a strange network. Battle arrays. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. The 2 muscular men weren't using ordinary attacks. Instead, they were cooperating to form a large array. The power wasn't as simple as 1 multiplied by 2. Instead, it was several times stronger. However, it was still nothing to Lu Ming. He punched out. The boundless fist energy drowned the 2 muscular men. When the fist force disappeared, the 2 brawny men also disappeared. Lu Ming continued forward. In the 3rd stage, 4 burly men appeared. Once again, the 4 of them worked together to set up a formation that was even more terrifying. However, he was still crushed by Lu Ming's exploding star fist. He barged through with force. In the 4th stage, there were 8 strong men. In the 5th stage, there were 16 strong men. Every stage, the number of people would double, and the battle formations would be set up, their power terrifying. It was simply impossible for ordinary martial artists to break through. Only a few peerless geniuses could pass through. Soon he reached the 7th stage. There were a total of 64 muscular men in the 7th trial, and all of them were Peak Kings. Their power was unimaginably terrifying. It's just right for me to hone my conception. With the infinite dragon spear in hand, Lu Ming weaved through the crowd. He fused the earth concept with the other three concepts, constantly attacking and tempering his own concept. A moment later, the 64 burly men were all killed by Lu Ming. Whoosh! At this moment, a jade token flew toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming reached out and caught the jade token in his hand. What's this? Is this my reward? Lu Ming's mind sank into the jade token, and a trace of joy appeared on his face. In the jade token was a martial skill, a demigod-level martial skill. A demigod-level martial skill was extremely precious. Lu Ming put it away. As he continued forward, the surrounding environment suddenly changed again. This time, Lu Ming came to an underground cave. In the underground cave, there was a pool. The pool water was so clear that one could see the bottom. It seems that there were a total of 7 stages before. Now, I've come to another stage. Lu Ming pondered. In this stage, you have to count the ripples in the water clearly. Only by counting the correct ones can you pass. At this moment, a voice rang out. Count the ripples in the water clearly? It seems that this stage tests one's observation skills. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Then he came to the side of the pool. A water droplet fell from above. The water droplet landed on the surface of the water, creating layers of ripples. Lu Ming's mind was highly focused, and his eyes were fixed on the water surface. Layers of ripples continued to spread. At first, they were very clear, but eventually they became fainter and finally disappeared. A total of 1,356 layers. Lu Ming answered.
Correct.
Look again. The voice rang out again. This time, a total of 2 water droplets fell into the pool. The ripples formed by the 2 water droplets interfered with each other. The difficulty was more than 10 times higher than before. Lu Ming had to count how many ripples were formed by the 2 water droplets. After a while, the water droplets disappeared. 2,537. Lu Ming answered.
Correct.
Continue looking. The voice rang out again. There's more? Lu Ming frowned. This time, there were 3 water droplets. The ripples formed by the 3 water droplets interfered with each other and became more complicated. Lu Ming observed carefully. After a while, the water droplets disappeared. Lu Ming frowned. In his mind, he kept thinking about the water droplets he saw earlier. How many ripples?
The voice asked.
3,600. Lu Ming answered. Congratulations, you've passed the stage. The voice rang out. Then, with the sound of the air being torn apart, a battle sword flew over. Lu Ming grabbed it in his hand. This battle sword is of high quality. It should be a level 6 peerless battle sword. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. Spirit weapons were divided into inferior, middle, and superior grades. Above the superior grades were the supreme grades and the peerless grades. Lu Ming's infinite dragon spear was now a level 6 superior grade weapon. The quality of this battle sword was much higher than Lu Ming's infinite dragon spear. It was a pity that Lu Ming couldn't use it. In another cave, Xian Yinqing waved his hand and grabbed a battle sword. A level 6 peerless battle sword. Xian Yinqing kept it and continued to move forward. Like Lu Ming, Xian Yinqing also obtained a demigod-level martial technique and a battle sword. In another cave, Kenfei Ryu also passed 2 stages and obtained a demigod-level martial technique and a battle sword. With this martial technique and battle sword, my combat strength can continue to increase. Kenfei Ryu's eyes were filled with excitement. At this moment, at the foot of the sacred mountain, people were constantly being sent flying. Only Lu Ming and Miss Xia are left. I wonder how they are doing? Qi Jingkong sighed. Almost all of the Red Leopard tribes, more than 100 outsiders, had failed. Only Lu Ming and Xian Yinqing were still inside. Father, don't worry. I believe that Lu Ming will succeed. Qi Yu's eyes were shining. She had great faith in Lu Ming. The Red Leopard tribe was still doing well. Many tribes were already sighing because they had been completely wiped out. In the sacred mountain, Lu Ming kept his battle sword and strode forward. The scene around him changed again. In front of him, There were 9 passages that led forward. Chapter 719. There are 9 paths here. Among them, only one is a path of life. The other 8 are paths of death. Once you step into them, you will die without a doubt. Choose one yourself. That voice sounded again. Lu Ming's heart trembled. 9 paths, 8 paths of death, and 1 path of life. If he were to choose it himself, the chance of survival would only be 1 in 9. Was this a test of luck? Senior, do you have any hints? Lu Ming asked. There are no hints. Choose freely. The voice sounded. Lu Ming's brows furrowed even tighter. Is it really a test of luck? Impossible. Luck is an illusory thing. No one can say for sure. Since the person who set up these formations wanted to test me, it would not be a test of luck. Otherwise, what's the point of the first 2 stages? It's better to test my luck directly. Lu Ming's mind spun rapidly. You have 5 minutes to consider. If you don't choose, just back off. That voice sounded again. Why do I need 5 minutes? I can make my decision now. Lu Ming smiled faintly and strode toward the path in the middle. 9 paths appeared in front of Xian Yinqing. It was exactly the same as Lu Ming's. Xian Yinqing pondered for a moment and strode toward the 4th path. Kenfei Ryu looked at the 9 paths in front of him and frowned. After pondering for a while, he sighed and turned to leave. After a short while, his figure appeared at the foot of the mountain. Faced with only 1 in 9 paths of life, how many people could make a choice? After Lu Ming stepped into the middle path, he found himself in a huge cave the next moment. The cave was very spacious. In the middle of the cave, there was an altar. At this moment, a light flashed in the cave and another figure appeared. Little Qing. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. It was Xian Yinqing. Lu Ming. Xian Yinqing looked at Lu Ming and walked over with a smile. Sure enough, the 9 paths are a lie. Xian Yinqing said with a smile. It's not really a lie, but it requires a person's courage and wisdom, Lu Ming said. Lu Ming speculated that the previous 9 paths were not 8 paths of death and 1 path of life, but all paths of life. As for saying that there were 8 dead ends, it was purely a bluff. This depended on everyone's judgment. Of course, it also required a lot of courage. For some people, even if they had guessed the answer, whether or not they dared to step in was another matter altogether. What if there really was a dead end? Courage is needed here. Without a doubt, Xian Yinqing and Lu Ming had successfully passed that trial. After a while, no one else appeared except for Lu Ming and Xian Yinqing. Sigh, after so many years, someone has finally come here. At that instant, a sigh could be heard. Who? Lu Ming and Xian Yinqing's expressions flickered. Aren't you here to find me? The voice could be heard. Following this, Lu Ming saw a figure appear on the altar in the middle. It was a middle-aged man around the age of 40, wearing a long robe with 2 different colors. He floated in midair while emitting a terrifying pressure from his body. The middle-aged man did not unleash his aura, but the pressure was naturally emitted from his body. Lu Ming felt like he was facing the vast heavens and earth, a whole new world. Powerful, too powerful. Lu Ming was astounded. However, it was obvious that the middle-aged man did not have a physical body, but an illusionary one, as if his body was transparent. Powerful, too powerful. This is a martial emperor realm expert. Dandan screamed in fright. Her limbs and head shrank back into the turtle shell. Lu Ming and Xian Yinqing were astounded. Martial emperor realm expert. Wasn't that a martial emperor? The person before them was a martial emperor? Could it be that the martial emperor's treasure was real? Interesting little tortoise. The middle-aged man glanced at Dandan. Then his eyes fell on Lu Ming, then on Xian Yinqing, as if the sun, the moon, and the stars were changing in his eyes. Interesting little guys, you're hiding a lot of things. The middle-aged man smiled and waved his hand. In that instant, Lu Ming seemed to be unable to control himself. 5 mental rings were suspended above his head. 5 stages and 10 spiritual lamps were lit. Powerful, powerful. I was only like this back then. Ah, good. The middle-aged man laughed. Senior, may I know who you are? Did you set up the entrance to the martial emperor's treasure in the chaotic astral ocean? Lu Ming asked. The man before them should be the ancient ancestor that the people of the underground world talked about.
Who am I?
Sigh, it's been thousands of years. I've almost forgotten myself. The middle-aged man sighed faintly. After a moment of silence, he said, My name is Liao Tsong. Liao Tsong? Lu Ming was confused. He had never heard of this name before. However, Xian Yinqing exclaimed, Liao Tsong, you're the Talisman Puppet Emperor, the sect leader of the Talisman Puppet Sect, Liao Tsong. Xian Yinqing opened his eyes wide in disbelief. What? He is a Talisman Puppet Emperor? Lu Ming also turned pale with fright, his heart trembling. He had never heard of the name Liao Tsong, but the Talisman Puppet Emperor was something that many people had heard of. There were 4 overlord forces in the Eastern Wilderness. Emperor Heaven Divine Palace, Heavenly Corpse Sect, Sky Monster Valley, and Talisman Puppet Sect. The Talisman Puppet Sect focused on inscriptions. They mainly cultivated the Tao of inscriptions, and martial arts were only supplementary. The Talisman Puppet Emperor was the sect leader of the Talisman Puppet Sect. His Tao of Inscriptions had reached level 9, which was equivalent to the Martial Emperor realm. He was as famous as Martial Emperor Di. There were only a handful of Martial Emperors in the Eastern Wilderness. He could shake the entire Eastern Wilderness with a stomp of his feet. He was even one of the top experts in the entire Divine Wilderness continent. It was said that the Talisman Puppet Emperor had fallen 3,000 years ago. As for why he had fallen, it had always been a mystery. But why would he appear underground? Lu Ming and Xian Yinqing had countless questions in their hearts. Little girl, you know quite a lot. Your bloodline is very special. You must be from a family in the Middle Continent, right? Liao Tsong smiled. Xian Yinqing didn't say anything. Lu Ming's heart trembled. Middle Continent. Xian Yinqing was from the Middle Continent. Then why was she in the Eastern Wilderness? You must want to know what happened, right? Why am I here? Liao Tsong said. Lu Ming and Xian Yinqing nodded. Actually, I was ambushed. The person who ambushed me was the palace master of the Heavenly Divine Palace, Martial Emperor Di. Liao Tsong said word by word.
What?
Lu Ming's heart trembled again. The Talisman Puppet Emperor, Liao Tsong, was ambushed by Martial Emperor Di. This was completely out of their expectations. Chapter 720. 3,000 years ago, Liao Tsong was beaten to the point that only a strand of his soul remained. At first, Liao Tsong was filled with hatred and wanted to take revenge. Therefore, he taught the Tao of Inscription to the underground humans, hoping to cultivate an Emperor realm expert to take revenge for him. Therefore, Liao Tsong became the ancestor of the underground humans. However, Liao Tsong discovered that the underground humans had a special physique. Maybe it was because they were underground, they were different from the Tao of heaven and earth. They were separated from the sun, the moon, and the stars. Therefore, the underground humans were not like the people outside, who had unlimited possibilities. The humans here could only cultivate to level 6. Yes, level 6 was equivalent to the Sea of Spirit Realm, which was what the underground humans called the Divine Realm. How could a level 6 help him take revenge? Moreover, Liao Tsong's soul could not go out to look for a successor. As an Emperor realm expert, Di would sense him the moment he went out. Helplessly, Liao Tsong forged the 9 jade swords and found a few level 6 elites. He sent them out of the earth and built an entrance to the underground world. Then, he scattered the 9 jade swords all over the place, hoping to find a fated person to enter the underground world and become Liao Tsong's descendant and avenge him in the future. Liao Tsong purposely spread the news that if someone from outside the underground world came in, there would be a fated person who could wake him up. However, as time passed, no one came in. Liao Tsong was already in despair. His strand of soul went into a deep sleep. 3,000 years passed in the blink of an eye. Unexpectedly, after 3,000 years, someone finally came in. Moreover, there were two people who made it to the last stage. As soon as Xian Yinqing and Lu Ming entered the last cave, Liao Cong sensed them instantly due to the array. He woke up from his deep sleep. After hearing this, Lu Ming sighed in his heart. Martial Emperor Di again. He could not help but think of Supreme Nine Yang. He was also killed by Martial Emperor Di, leaving only a strand of soul behind. Two peerless talents, how similar their endings were. You are the Di Tian Divine Guard of the Di Tian Divine Palace, right? I can feel the fluctuation of the Divine Guard medallion on you. Liao Cong looked at Lu Ming. In his eyes, it was as if the sun, the moon, and the stars were spinning. Lu Ming was shocked. Liao Cong and Di were enemies. Would Liao Cong kill him? Thinking of this, a layer of cold sweat appeared on his back. Xian Yinqing moved in front of Lu Ming and stared at Liao Cong. Even if he was an Emperor realm expert, if he wanted to kill Lu Ming, he would have no choice but to fight. Haha, the two of you have a good relationship. You're also very brave. I like it. Liao Cong laughed. Xian Yinqing's face was slightly red, but he still gritted his teeth and stood in front of Lu Ming. Looking at Xian Yinqing's slender back, Lu Ming felt very warm in his heart. He took a step forward and held Xian Yinqing's hand, standing side by side with Xian Yinqing. Yes, the two of you are equally talented. You're a perfect match. Don't worry, little guys. The enmity between me and Di has nothing to do with others. Moreover, although this little guy is a Di Tian Divine Guard, I'm afraid he hasn't even seen Di's face.
Who am I, Liao Cong?
Why would I implicate him? Liao Cong laughed. Lu Ming and Xian Yinqing were secretly relieved. To be honest, facing an Emperor realm expert, even if it was just a remnant soul, the pressure was terrifying. The difference was too big. An Emperor realm expert could kill them 8 to 10 times with just a breath. Senior, to be honest, Di and I will be enemies sooner or later. Lu Ming clasped his fist and said, You and Di will be enemies? You're just a martial king. What enmity do you have with him? Wait, could it be the one in your body? Liao Cong's eyes seemed to be able to see through everything.
Buzz.
At this moment, Lu Ming's body shone like the sun. In the next moment, a figure appeared and floated in the air. Senior Jiuyang. Lu Ming exclaimed. This figure was Supreme Jiuyang. Junior Jiuyang greets Senior Lian. It's been a few thousand years since we parted. Supreme Jiuyang clasped his fist and bowed to Liao Cong. Liao Cong frowned slightly. Then his eyes lit up and he said, You're Jiuyang? What's going on? Based on the fluctuations of your soul, you should have already reached the Exalt realm. With your heaven-defying bloodline and physique, it wouldn't be so easy for ordinary emperors to take you down. How did you end up like this? 3,000 years ago, before Liao Cong's accident, Supreme Jiuyang had just risen. He was the most dazzling genius of that era. He had seen Liao Cong a few times. That was why Liao Cong recognized him. Supreme Jiuyang smiled bitterly and told Liao Cong about his experience. What? You were also harmed by that old man Di. That old man Di is so despicable. Liao Cong shouted angrily. He was harmed by Di. Because they belonged to two different forces, it was normal for them to be competitors. However, Supreme Jiuyang was the disciple of Martial Emperor Di. He had fought for Martial Emperor Di all his life. How sad was it that he ended up like this? It was really sad. What does that old man Di want to do? Does he want to unify the Eastern Barren Territory? Liao Cong said. As far as I know, his goal is not only the Eastern Barren Territories. Supreme Jiuyang said.
What?
He's so ambitious. Liao Cong said. Lu Ming and Xian Yinqing stood aside and listened quietly. They had heard a lot of secrets from Supreme Jiuyang and Liao Cong. They were not qualified to know these secrets with their cultivation. At this moment, Liao Cong looked at Lu Ming again and said, No wonder I felt that this kid's blood force was extraordinary. He has awakened the 9 dragons' blood force. However, it will be difficult for him to fight against Yi. Since it has come to this, we can only take one step at a time. Supreme Jiuyang sighed. However, it's not like there's no turning back. According to you, the Battle of Luck is coming soon. If we do well in the Battle of Luck, we may have a chance. Liao Tsong thought for a while and looked at Lu Ming. Lu Ming, are you willing to be my disciple?
Disciple?
Lu Ming was stunned. I see that you have great talent in the art of inscription. I can teach you everything I know. This way, you will have more power to fight against Martial Emperor Di in the future. Liao Tsong said, Lu Ming, this is a great opportunity. Why don't you become my disciple? Supreme Jiuyang urged. Disciple Lu Ming greets master. Lu Ming took a few steps forward and knelt down to greet Liao Tsong. How could he not be willing to become the disciple of a martial emperor? This was a great opportunity. Good. Ha ha ha. Liao Tsong laughed. Immediately after, he pointed a finger at Lu Ming's glabella. There was a flash of light, and Lu Ming suddenly felt that there was something in his mind. As for what it was, he felt that it was a bit vague, and he could not see it clearly. Disciple, I've already sealed all that I've learned in my life and some of my cultivation experiences into a formation. Now, I'm sending it into your mind. In the future, you can slowly study it and cultivate. However, there are many layers of seals in that formation. With your current cultivation, you can only read things of level 5 and below. When you become a level 6 inscriptionist, you'll be able to read all the things of level 6 inscriptionists. Chapter 7:21. Thank you very much, Master. Lu Ming was overjoyed and thanked him. How precious was the lifetime worth of knowledge and cultivation experience of an Emperor realm expert. It was much more precious than any treasure. Lu Ming would be able to avoid many detours in his cultivation in the future. He would be able to improve his cultivation at the fastest speed. This was an Emperor realm expert, one of the most powerful experts in the Divine Wilderness continent. He was not like Dandan, who bragged about how powerful he was. He knew a lot of things, but he would only throw them to Lu Ming and let Lu Ming learn by himself. He had no experience to learn from. Yes, this is the spirit weapon that I used back then. It's called the Million Formation Illustration. It's a pity that I fought with DE back then, and it was damaged. Many of the inscription arrays on it have been destroyed. However, it's still very powerful. Given your current cultivation level, you can't use it yet. Perhaps it will be of great use to you when your cultivation level increases in the future.
Take it.
Million Formation Image? Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He took the Million Formation Image and put it away. Lu Ming had never heard of the Million Formation Image. However, since it was Liao Tsong's treasure, it must be extraordinary. By the side, Supreme Jiuyang was secretly shocked. Although Lu Ming had never heard of it, he knew that the 10,000 formation illustration was the treasure that made Liao Tsong famous. It was a powerful level 9 spirit weapon and was considered an imperial treasure. Its power was earth-shattering and could destroy the heavens. It was extremely terrifying. Now, Liao Tsong had given such an important treasure to Lu Ming. It was obvious that he valued Lu Ming very much. My dear disciple, your little girlfriend's talent is also extremely shocking. Her bloodline physique has a great background. Since she has made it to the final stage, I have to do something. Now, let me help you unleash the power of your bloodline to the maximum. Liao Tsong waved his hand, and a ray of light enveloped Xian Yinqing. A bloody light flashed behind Xian Yinqing, and a lotus flower appeared. On the lotus flower, a beautiful woman sat cross-legged. As expected, it's this kind of bloodline. Even in that family, this kind of bloodline only appears very rarely. It's called an anomaly. Let me see the effect of bloodline nirvana. Liao Tsong waved his finger, and a mystical array entered Xian Yinqing's veins. Immediately, a black cocoon formed around Xian Yinqing's veins. Xian Yinqing sat down cross-legged, closed his eyes, and began to cultivate. Yes. Liao Tsong nodded. Within 3 days, I should be able to achieve nirvana. He then looked at Supreme Nine Sons and said, "Nine Sons, how is the current situation of the Talisman Puppet Sect?" Supreme Nine Sons pondered for a moment and said, "Since Senior Lien's accident, the Talisman faction, and the Puppet faction have split into two factions. Their strength has weakened greatly. Now, the Talisman Puppet Sect has been occupied by the Emperor, Heaven Divine Palace, and the Heavenly Corpse Sect. It's not as strong as before. I knew it. Once something happened to me, I would end up like this." Liao Song sighed. "I even heard that the Puppet faction has the intention to join the Emperor, Heaven Divine Palace." Supreme Nine Sons said, "Damn it, the Talisman Puppet Sect must not be destroyed because of this."
Disciple.
Suddenly, Liao Song looked at Lu Ming and said, "The 10,000 formation illustration is not only a supreme treasure, but also the token of the Talisman Puppet Sect's patriarch. In the future, the Talisman Puppet Sect will be handed over to you. After you leave, think of a way to reorganize the Talisman Puppet Sect and merge the two factions into one."
Me?
Lu Ming was dumbfounded. The Talisman Puppet Sect was a formidable existence. How could he possibly have the strength to do so? "Disciple, since you are my successor and have my token, the Talisman Puppet Sect will be handed over to you. Furthermore, once you have the Talisman Puppet Sect in your hands, you'll have the strength to fight against Martial Emperor De in the future." Liao Song said, "That's right, Lu Ming. This is Senior Liao Song's kindness." Supreme Nine Sons said, "All right, I promise, Master, that I will try my best." Lu Ming brought his fists together and said, "Indeed, if he could really control the Talisman Puppet Sect, he would have the strength to fight against Martial Emperor De." Great, great. Haha, I'm relieved. Initially, with my soul force, I would only be able to hold on for a few years before my soul dissipated. Who would have thought that I would be able to find hope before my death? Haha, the heavens are kind to me." Liao Song burst out laughing. "Master." Lu Ming was sad. It was already unbelievable that a remnant soul could hold on for thousands of years. He knew that Liao Song might not be able to hold on for a few more years. "Jiu Yang, there is still hope for you to be resurrected. If you are resurrected in the future, you should help Lu Ming," Liao Song said. "Of course. However, resurrection is easier said than done." Supreme Nine Sons sighed. "There is always hope. All right, I have told you everything. When the girl wakes up, I will send you all back to the outer world." Liao Song said, "Master, what about the other people from the outer world?" Lu Ming asked. "Let the others stay in the outer world. With my current strength, I can't send so many people out," Liao Song said calmly. Lu Ming sighed. Liao Song was an Emperor realm expert who could suppress the 9 heavens. Ordinary martial artists were like ants in his eyes. If he and Xian Yanqing didn't make it to the last stage and caught Liao Song's attention and accepted him as his disciple, they would be nothing more than ants in Liao Song's eyes. "Master, I want to bring a friend out with me."
Can I?
Lu Ming asked. "A friend? Of course. All right, we can also solve the problem of the outer world." Liao Song waved his hand. Lu Ming felt the world change. In the next moment, Lu Ming appeared in the sky outside the sacred mountain. Outside the sacred mountain, hundreds of tribes were staring at the sacred mountain. Most of the tribes were sighing in sorrow because their people had all failed. Then, they looked at each other to see which tribe hadn't come out yet. Lu Ming and Miss Xie haven't come out yet. Maybe there is still hope. Qi Yu, Qi Jinkong, and the others of the Red Leopard tribe clenched their fists and stared at the sacred mountain with anticipation. "Look, there is someone in the sky." Suddenly, someone shouted. Countless people looked up and saw a figure appear in the air. He stood in midair and did not descend. What's going on? How did this person appear in the sky? The others were bounced back by the array. This is strange. Which tribe did he come from? Lu Ming's appearance caused a wave of confusion. Lu Ming, it's Lu Ming. The people of the Red Leopard tribe were shocked. Did he succeed? Did Lu Ming fail too? At this moment, the entire sacred mountain emitted a dazzling light. The light shone on the land for thousands of miles. In the light, a figure appeared. This figure was 10,000 meters tall. It was huge and emitted an aura like the sky.
It was Liao Tsang.
Ancestor, the ancestor has awakened. It's really the ancestor. Chapter 722. Even the people from the outer world felt the same. Liao Tsang's aura was too powerful. It was boundless, making people feel like they were facing the universe. Facing this pressure, the people from the outer world also knelt down. No one was an exception. It was not a matter of whether they wanted to kneel or not, but they had no choice. This man is the destined one. Liao Tsang's voice came out of his mouth. Countless people's eyes gathered on Lu Ming. This young man was the destined one. Was he the one who awakened the ancient ancestor? Lu Ming. It's really him. It's really him. The people of the Red Leopard tribe were all ecstatic. They were so excited that their bodies were shaking. It was really Lu Ming. And Lu Ming was sent by the Red Leopard tribe. What kind of reward would the ancient ancestor give them? They were all looking forward to it. Which tribe sent this destined one? Liao Tsang's voice came out again. It was as if the gods were talking. His voice was like thunder, echoing between heaven and earth. It's us. It's our Sacred Wind tribe. Qi Jinkong did not say anything. Suddenly, a shout came out. There was a group of people in that direction. There were more than 1,000 of them. Every one of them had a powerful aura. They were all inscribers above the Sea of Soul's realm. Rank 6. It's the Sacred Wind tribe. This time, they're even stronger. That's right. The Sacred Wind tribe was the strongest tribe in the first place. They have countless experts. Now, they're the ones who delivered the mandate of heaven. The ancient ancestor will definitely reward them. The strong will strengthen the strong. In the future, which tribe will be the Sacred Wind tribe's opponent? The other tribes were all discussing. Damn it! The people of the Red Leopard tribe screamed in their hearts. The Sacred Wind tribe was so shameless that they stole their credit. However, they didn't dare to make a sound. The Sacred Wind tribe was too powerful. If they made a sound and the ancient ancestor didn't punish the Sacred Wind tribe, then their Red Leopard tribe would be in danger. If the Sacred Wind tribe wanted to destroy their Red Leopard tribe, it would be easy. Sacred Wind tribe, how dare you deceive me? You should die. Liao Tsang's voice came out. 2 beams of light shot out from his eyes toward the Sacred Wind tribe.
Ah.
Ancient ancestor, please forgive us. The people of the Sacred Wind tribe screamed in horror. But it was all useless. 2 beams of light swept past, and the people of the Sacred Wind tribe all disappeared, turning into ashes. All the extraterrestrial people who had come with the Sacred Wind tribe had disappeared.
2 gazes, all dead.
Even though Liao Tsang was only left with a remnant of his soul, and even though this remnant of his soul was about to dissipate, his power was still terrifying. At this moment, everyone at the scene was as silent as cicadas in winter. They didn't even dare to breathe loudly. The Sacred Wind tribe doesn't need to exist in this world. All tribes should unite and attack them. Liao Tsang said. Yes, ancient ancestors. Countless tribes responded loudly. With one word from Liao Tsang, the #1 tribe in the underground world was doomed to extinction. I already know that the Red Leopard tribe is the one who sent us the mandate of heaven this time. Now, I will bestow upon you a spirit cultivation technique. As soon as Liao Tsang finished speaking, a piece of jade flew towards the Red Leopard tribe. Qi Jinkong received it respectfully and hurriedly kowtowed. Thank you for your gift, ancient ancestor. In his heart, he was extremely excited. Spirit cultivation technique. It was actually a spirit cultivation technique. This was a priceless treasure. With time, how many elites could be born in the Red Leopard tribe? In the future, it was possible for the Red Leopard tribe to become the strongest tribe in the underground world. There were so many tribes in the underground world, but none of them had a spirit cultivation technique. This was the legendary sacred book. The other tribes were extremely envious. Some people looked at the jade in Qi Jinkong's hand with burning eyes. Also, these 9 inscription talismans, each of them can kill those above the immortal realm.
You can keep them.
Liao Tsong's voice sounded again. The 9 inscription talismans flew towards Qi Jinkong. Thank you for your gift, ancient ancestor. Qi Jinkong received it and bowed again. With these 9 inscription talismans, the Red Leopard tribe's safety could be guaranteed. Some of the tribes that had other thoughts suddenly felt a chill in their hearts. It was obvious that the ancient ancestor wanted to protect the Red Leopard tribe. How would they dare to have other thoughts? Qi Yu, tribe leader Qi, Lu Ming will take his leave now. At this moment, Lu Ming's voice came into Qi Yu and Qi Jinkong's ears. Qi Yu looked up and saw the ancient ancestor waving his hand. Lu Ming's figure disappeared. Qi Yu felt lost. She sighed in her heart. She knew that after today's parting, they might never meet again. Lu Ming was a heaven's favorite from the outer world. The outer world was so vast. After all, the underground was only one stop in Lu Ming's life journey. At the same time, Liao Tsong's figure also disappeared. Along with him, Kenfei Ryu, who was standing in a tribe. The surroundings changed. Lu Ming found that he was back in the cave. With a flash of light, Liao Tsong also appeared. At the same time, another figure flashed. Kenfei Ryu's figure also appeared. As soon as Kenfei Ryu appeared, he hurriedly retreated and put on a cautious look. When he saw Lu Ming, he let out a sigh of relief. He looked at Liao Tsong, Lu Ming, and Xian Yanqing. He said, "Brother Lu, what is going on?" "Brother Jian, in a few days, the 3 of us will go out and return to the outer world. Brother Jian, please don't ask too much about other things," Lu Ming said. Kenfei Ryu was stunned. Although he had many questions in his heart, since Lu Ming said not to ask too much, it most likely involved Lu Ming's secrets. Kenfei Ryu was smart enough not to ask too much. In the following time, Lu Ming and Kenfei Ryu sat cross-legged, waiting for Xian Yanqing. Lu Ming's consciousness sank into his mind. He found that there was a shining object in his mind. On top of it, there were layers upon layers of arrays. This was the sealing array that Liao Tsong inserted into his mind. It was about Liao Tsong's cultivation experience and cultivation experience. Lu Ming controlled the flame of will and approached the sealing array. The first layer of the array was not very strong. Soon, it was broken by the flame of will. Suddenly, Lu Ming found that he had entered a vast space. Here, there were countless Liao Tsong sitting cross-legged, explaining their cultivation experience and cultivation experience. It was as if there were countless Liao Tsong teaching him cultivation. He could listen to any one of them. Amazing, truly amazing. Lu Ming sighed. He stopped in front of one of the Liao Tsong and listened. After a while, this Liao Tsong repeated what he just said. Lu Ming listened to it a few times and felt that he understood it. Then he walked to the next Liao Tsong. Just like that, Lu Ming listened to each and every one of them. Here it was all about the Liao Tsong's knowledge and cultivation experience of the 5th level and before. Although Lu Ming had reached the peak of the 5th level, after listening to it, he found that he still had a lot to learn. His foundation in the path of inscription was getting stronger. In the blink of an eye, 3 days had passed. On the 4th day, Xian Yanqing's qi began to increase rapidly. The black cocoon above her head began to crack. Chapter 7:23.
Crack.
The black cocoon on Xian Yanqing's head cracked open. Then, a dazzling silver light flashed out. It was the light emitted by the chakras. 9 chakras. Lu Ming looked at it and saw 9 silver chakras. 9th level king bloodline. How is this possible? Lu Ming was stunned. Kenfei Ryu was even more shocked. They had fought together and knew that Xian Yanqing's bloodline was originally a 7th level king bloodline. But now, it had become a 9th level king bloodline. It was unbelievable. Not bad at all. This bloodline is indeed powerful. I wonder what level the 3rd bloodline will be like. Liao Tsong looked at Xian Yanqing and nodded with satisfaction. It seems that the Nine Dragons bloodline is not the only type of bloodline in this world. Lu Ming sighed. In the Great Thousand Realms, there were all sorts of strange things. In the past, the place where Xiao Chen stayed was still too small. When he stepped onto a broader stage, he would definitely see even more wondrous things.
There were all sorts of bloodlines.
The Nine Dragons bloodline might not be the only bloodline that could be upgraded. Xian Yanqing's bloodline was actually able to rise to the 9th level of the king level through another method through the nirvana of his bloodline. A 9th level king bloodline was the highest level that a second bloodline could reach. Normally, a third bloodline was needed to reach the divine bloodline. After a while, the silver light disappeared. Xian Yanqing's bloodline also disappeared and entered her body. She opened her eyes. "All right, now, step onto the altar. I will send you out," Liao Cong said. Kenfei Ryu and Xian Yanqing stepped onto the altar. Lu Ming came to Liao Cong and bowed. "Master, I will take my leave."
Go.
"I will not be able to help you in the future. You will have to rely on yourself." Liao Cong nodded. Lu Ming's heart ached. Although he did not spend much time with Liao Cong, Lu Ming did treat Liao Cong as his real master. Strictly speaking, this was the first time Lu Ming had formally acknowledged a master. Lu Ming knew that this farewell might be forever. With Liao Cong's soul power, he would not be able to hold on for more than a few years. An emperor of a generation, ending up like this, it was really sad. Lu Ming bowed again and stepped onto the altar. Liao Cong waved his hands and the altar began to glow. Inscriptions flashed, and in the next moment, they felt the world was spinning. When the surroundings stabilized, they opened their eyes. They arrived on a small island, which should be one of the small islands in the chaotic astral ocean. "Brother Lu, Mississippi Xia, thank you." Kenfei Ryu cupped his fists at Lu Ming to express his gratitude. This time, only the three of them came out. He knew that the others would have to stay underground forever. The reason he could come out was definitely because of Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing. He was very grateful. If he had to stay underground forever, it would be worse than death. "Brother Jian, you don't have to thank me." Lu Ming smiled. "Brother Lu, Miss Xia, what are your plans from now on?" Kenfei Ryu asked. "We came out mainly to train and improve our cultivation. When the Battle of Providence begins, we will head to the Tianwu region." Lu Ming said. The Tianwu region was where the Emperor's Sky Divine Palace was located. "Oh, if that's the case, why don't you follow me back to the Golden Sword sect and head to the Tianwu region? The Tianwu list battle is about to begin. For all the Peak Kings, this is an opportunity that cannot be missed." Kenfei Ryu said. "Tianwu list battle?" Lu Ming was stunned. Apart from the Battle of Providence, why was there another Tianwu list battle? "Brother Lu, you don't know about the Tianwu list battles?" Kenfei Ryu was a little surprised. Lu Ming shook his head. He really didn't know.
All right.
In the Tianwu region, there are 2 Tianwu steels that open once every 3 years. The Tianwu steels have a miraculous effect on Peak Kings. Many people have broken through and entered the Sea of Soul Realm because of it. However, there is a limit to the number of people who can obtain the final opportunity. There are only 108 people. However, there are so many Peak Kings in the Eastern Wilderness that it's hard to count. With so many people, everyone wants the 108 spots. Therefore, a series of battles have started. This is the Tianwu list battle. Now, the Tianwu list battle is not only about the 108 spots. It will also rank the Peak Kings. It is a kind of glory to determine the strongest Peak King. Among them, the top 10 of the Tianwu list are called the 10 Heavenly Kings. Kenfei Ryu explained in detail. Oh. Lu Ming nodded. He roughly understood. This meant that they had to compete for both the ranking and the opportunity. The Tianwu list battle is extremely fierce. Because there is no age limit, many old monsters who have cultivated for nearly 1,000 years will participate. It can be said that there are many experts. Those old monsters may have limited potential, but after so many years of cultivation, their combat strength is extremely terrifying. Many geniuses on the list of top 1,000 talents are no match for them. Kenfei Ryu said. Okay, we'll go to the Golden Sword sect with you first, then go to the Tianwu regions. Lu Ming immediately made a decision. He was now stuck at the limit of the first level of wind, fire, and thunder. It was difficult for him to break through. Perhaps the Tianwu list battle would be an opportunity for him to break through. If he didn't break through the spiritual sea, it was almost impossible for him to stand out in the battle of luck. Xian Yinqing also nodded. Although she had heard of the Tianwu list battle, she was still quite curious. Immediately, the three of them rose into the air and flew toward the west. The Golden Light region where the Golden Sword sect was located was in the west of the chaotic astral ocean. After flying for a day, the three of them came to a large island. Following the map, they knew where they were. They should be about 10 days away from the Golden Light region. Let's ride the puppet. Lu Ming waved his hand, and a giant snake puppet appeared. This giant snake puppet was 50 meters long and equivalent to the 4th tier of the spiritual sea realm. It came from the Yin snake tribe. This time, Lu Ming brought back many puppets. At the sight of Lu Ming taking out the giant snake puppet and sensing the powerful aura that the giant snake puppet exuded, Jian Filiu was shocked. I didn't expect that Brother Lu not only has strong martial arts cultivation, but also the path of inscription is so terrifying. Kenfei Ryu sighed. To be able to control a puppet equivalent to the 4th tier of the spiritual sea realm, Lu Ming's spiritual fire was absolutely terrifying. Needless to say, he was definitely a true inscription master. At this age, not only was his martial arts so terrifying, but even his path of inscription had reached such a level. Kenfei Ryu wailed in his heart.
Was he still human?
Lu Ming smiled faintly and didn't say much. The giant snake puppet was very big, and it was very spacious for the three of them to ride. The giant snake puppet flapped its wings, and the wind howled. They turned into a stream of light and flew forward. So fast. Lu Ming was slightly shocked. After coming out of the underground, he found that the giant snake puppet's flying speed was many times faster than underground. As expected when underground, its speed was completely suppressed. Flying became many times more difficult, and when they were outside, it was as if they had broken free of their shackles and were free to fly. Chapter 724. The boundless sea region flashed by, and in the blink of an eye, 2 days had passed. Riding on the puppet, they could cultivate as they traveled. And there are battle cries coming from ahead. With a thought, Lu Ming reduced the speed of the giant snake puppet. Kenfei Ryu and Xian Yinqing also stopped cultivating. It seems like there are pirates intercepting the merchant group, Xian Yinqing said. Let's go and take a look. Lu Ming waved his hand and kept the giant snake puppet. They turned into 3 rays of light and flew forward. Luo Xian was in despair. Seeing the people of the flame merchant group dying one by one, she was truly in despair. This time, the flame merchant group had a large amount of goods to transport to the Golden Light region. The value of the goods was very high, and the flame merchant group had mobilized almost all of their forces. Chen Dao, the strongest battle force of the flame merchant group, and Luo Xian's father, Luo Ming, was also a peak king. There were also 2 peak kings, making a total of 4 peak kings. Their strength couldn't be considered weak. However, the opponent was even stronger because they were the Blood Evil Pirate Group. Yes, it was the Blood Evil Pirate Group again, and this time, all of them were mobilized. What made them despair was that the Blood Evil Pirate Group not only had 4 peak kings, but their leader was also an almighty at the first layer of the spiritual ocean realm. They were no match for them at all. At this moment, they were completely surrounded.
Pung.
The leader of the Blood Evil Pirate Group was called Shueisha. With a palm strike, Chen Dao spat out large mouthfuls of blood and retreated rapidly. Shueisha, we have already agreed to hand over all the goods. Why are you still in such a hurry to kill us all? Luo Ming roared, unwilling to give up.
Why?
Last time my 5th and 6th brothers tried to rob your flame trading firm, but were killed in the end. During this period of time, I've been investigating your flame trading firm's movements, planning to take revenge for my fifth and sixth brothers. I didn't expect to find out that all of you have moved out. How could I miss such an opportunity? Shueisha sneered, and the murderous aura on his body was extremely dense. Luo Xian smiled bitterly. So that's why. The Blood Evil Pirate Group wanted to avenge those people. Back then, the two pinnacle kings of the Blood Evil Pirate Group had been killed by Lu Ming. But in that situation, the Blood Evil Pirates wanted to annihilate them. Of course, they had to retaliate. She wouldn't blame Lu Ming. She could only say that their flame trade union was destined to face such a calamity. Little girl, I heard that my fifth brother was killed because he took a fancy to you. Why didn't you agree at that time? Why didn't you just agree to my fifth brother's request? You actually dared to resist, and even dared to order people to kill them. Today, I will take you down and let my other brothers enjoy you. I will let you know what regret is. Shueisha's voice was extremely cold. It was as cold as a poisonous snake, choosing its prey. Chen Dao, you take Xian and break out of the encirclement. I will do my best to stop them. Luo Ming asked Chen Dao. Father, no, we have to leave together. Luo Xian shouted. If Luo Ming stayed behind to block them, he would definitely die. Go? Where do you want to go? Today, none of you will be able to leave. Shueisha said coldly. The other four peak kings of the Blood Evil Pirate Group were scattered around, along with many other experts, sealing off the other escape routes of the Flame Trade Union. Also, who killed my fifth brother and sixth brother? Hurry up and say it, so that you won't have to suffer so much. Shueisha asked coldly. I already said that the one who killed your fifth brother and sixth brother wasn't from our Flame Trade Union. He was just passing by our Flame Trade Union. We don't recognize him and don't know where he is now. Luo Xian said. It seems like you won't say it? All right, wait a moment. I will let you say it. Shueisha's gaze turned even colder as the aura on his body exploded. The aura of the Sea of Soul realm was like a vast ocean, spreading towards the people of the Flame Trade Union. Luo Xian, Luo Ming, and the others felt even more despair. Are you looking for me? Right at this moment, a clear voice drifted over from afar. Hearing this voice, Luo Xian's body shook. She didn't know why, but she immediately became excited as she looked towards the direction of the voice. Everyone else also looked towards the direction of the voice. Three young figures walked over in the air. Lu Ming, it's Lu Ming. Luo Xian became excited. It's him. Chen Dao's eyes suddenly brightened. Only the few of them knew that Lu Ming was Shura, the Shura who could kill the Sea of Soul realm deep sea giant snake. Lu Ming had come. They were saved. However, the others didn't know. Shueisha's gaze was cold as he looked at Lu Ming and said, Who are you?
Who am I?
What a joke. Weren't you looking for me just now? I was the one who killed your fifth and sixth brothers. Lu Ming smiled faintly. So it's you. Ha ha, there's a path to heaven but you don't want to take it. There's no door to hell but you're really stupid. But this is good too. It saves me the trouble of looking for you. Shueisha laughed, his gaze extremely cold.
Is that so?
From now on, the chaotic astral ocean will have no Blood Evil Pirate Group. Lu Ming stepped forward and said, Little Qing, Brother Jian, I'll leave the others to you. Okay, haha. Kenfei Ryu smiled and stepped forward, walking toward a peak king. Kid, you're courting death. That peak king roared, and a resplendent blade light slashed toward Kenfei Ryu.
Kung.
A light sword hum resounded, and a golden light flashed. Then, everyone was shocked to see that the Peak King Pirate's blade light had shattered, and a bloody wound had appeared on his forehead. Then, his entire body was split in two. One sword strike, and a Peak King had died. Everyone was dumbfounded. At the same time, Xian Yinqing arrived in front of a Peak King. However, what happened next was even more shocking. Just as that Peak King was about to attack, his entire body stiffened, and he didn't move at all. Only his face revealed an extremely terrified expression. Then, with a pung sound, this Peak King turned into a bloody mist that spread out in the air. He was dead and turned into ashes. CC'd around them. Everyone's chests were like a ventilator, constantly sucking in cold air. Horrifying, too horrifying. A Peak King was killed without even being able to fight back. However, Xian Yinqing and the others were clearly only Peak Kings. They are... Luo Ming was dumbfounded and stuttered. Luo Xian took a deep breath and pointed at Kenfei Ryu, saying, King of Hell. Then, she pointed at Xian Yinqing, saying, Yiksha. Finally, she pointed at Lu Ming and said, Shura. Luo Ming's pupils constricted as he took a few deep breaths and said, So it's them. No wonder, no wonder. Everyone on Golden Sand Island knew about Shura, King of Hell, and Yiksha. Of course, Luo Ming had heard of them before. He knew that his flame trade firm would finally be saved today. Chapter 725. Let's go. The two Peak Kings turned around and ran without thinking. It was too terrifying. If they didn't run, they would die. However, one of them suddenly turned into a bloody mist with a bang while running. The other one suddenly turned into two halves while running. For Peak Kings, all dead. Now, it's your turn. A powerful aura rose from Lu Ming's body and enveloped Shueisha. Shueisha's pupils shrank rapidly. The strength that Kenfei Ryu and Xian Yinqing displayed shocked him. You think you can kill me? No matter how strong a Peak King is, you're still a Peak King. I'll let you know how strong the Sea of Soul Realm is. A thick bloody mist spread out from Shueisha's body. His eyes turned red, and at the same time his hands also turned red. Shueisha hand.
Die.
Shueisha stepped forward and slapped at Lu Ming with a palm. Bloody qi filled the air, filled with a corrosive smell. Even the air emitted a terrifying crackling sound. Middle stage of the first level of the Sea of Soul Realm, just nice to test the power of the suppressing Hell Heaven skill. Lu Ming's mouth curled into a smile. The battle dragon True Yuan roared violently, and Lu Ming's palm was like a heavenly blade as he slashed out. This palm seemed to condense a heavenly steel, suppressing everything.
Pong.
Lu Ming's palm and Shueisha's palm clashed together, emitting a dull sound. In the next moment, everyone saw a figure frantically retreat, spurting blood from his mouth. This person was Shueisha. At this moment, one of Shueisha's palms had already turned into mush. His eyes were filled with disbelief and fear. How can he be so strong? How can he be so strong? Shueisha roared in shock. Lu Ming's palm just now made him feel like an ancient divine mountain had crashed into his body. His internal organs were all injured, and his entire body felt like it was about to crack. Sea of Soul Realm? I've already seen it. Go on your way. Lu Ming used the 9 Dragons' Heaven Stomping Steps. His body was like a flowing light as he instantly appeared in front of Shueisha and slapped down again.
Boom.
This time, Shueisha retreated a few thousand meters. His arms exploded and turned into ashes. Not only that, there was a huge hole in his chest. His entire body was twisted and deformed. If not for his high cultivation and strong physical body, he would have been dead by now. At this moment, he screamed in horror, "Spare me! Don't kill me!" What welcomed him was a spear light. The resplendent spear light pierced through the void and pierced through Shueisha's heart. Shueisha, dead. Everyone present was so shocked that they stood there in a daze. 3 moves. With just 3 moves, he had killed a Sea of Soul Realm expert. Was he still a Peak King? It was truly terrifying. Luo Xian, Luo Ming, and the others were also shocked. Lu Ming's combat strength had increased since the time he was in Jinsha Island. We're both Peak Kings, but the difference between us is too great. Chundao shook his head and smiled bitterly. The suppressing Hell Heaven skill is indeed worthy of being a demigod bloodline martial skill. Its power is truly formidable, but the consumption of True Yuan is truly astonishing. Lu Ming faintly smiled as he devoured Shueisha's storage ring and essence blood. Next, I'll leave these people to you. Little Qing, Brother Jian, let's go. The first sentence was said to the Flame Merchant Association. Later, it was said to Xian Yinqing and Kenfei Ryu. The strongest people had already been killed. The remaining people of the Blood Evil Pirates would be left to the Flame Merchant Association. After all, the Flame Merchant Association still had 4 Peak Kings. They would definitely take this opportunity to exterminate the Blood Evil Pirates. Lu Ming and the other 2 soared into the sky. Indeed, shocking battle cries resounded behind them. Lu Ming! Luo Xian muttered as she looked into the distance. Then, she sighed lightly and joined the battle. The 3 sat cross-legged on the huge snake puppet and continued on their way. Brother Lu, your current combat strength is getting stronger and stronger. I reckon that I'm no longer your opponent. Kenfei Ryu smiled bitterly. Brother Jian is too humble. Lu Ming smiled faintly. I'm not being humble. I'm telling the truth, Kenfei Ryu said. Then he looked at Xian Yinqing. Although Xian Yinqing did not reveal much, he still gave off an unfathomable feeling. He reckoned that if they really fought, he would not be Xian Yinqing's opponent. The most shocking thing was that Xian Yinqing and Lu Ming's essence of heaven and earth were still at the first level. If their essence of heaven and earth broke through to the second level, how terrifying would that be? If their essence of heaven and earth broke through to the second level, they would be able to compete with those freaks on the Heavenly King list. Kenfei Ryu's heart skipped a beat. Although he was ranked 788th on the list of top 1,000 talents, there were many peak-level kings who were stronger than him in battle strength. This was because the list of top 1,000 talents only ranked geniuses under the age of 30, while the Heavenly King list did not have an age restriction. Almost all of the top 600 on the list of top 1,000 talents were above the Sea Spirit realm. Only the 10 Heavenly Kings of the previous list of top 1,000 talents ranked in the top 600 because they were in the King realm. Therefore, there were nearly 200 geniuses who were stronger than him on the list of top 1,000 talents alone, and there were also many powerful older kings. Therefore, there were still many peak kings who were stronger than him. After all, the Eastern Wilderness was too big, and there were too many peak kings. My Earth Essence must be improved to the complete level 1 as soon as possible. Otherwise, I won't be able to exert much power. Lu Ming thought to himself. The Earth Essence was still far from the other 3 essences. Once the Earth Essence was similar to the other 3 essences, the power of the 4 essences would be terrifying, and Lu Ming's combat strength would increase by another level. The giant snake puppet was very fast. After another 3 days, they arrived at the Golden Light Domain, twice as fast as they had expected. After arriving at the Golden Light Domain, they continued to fly. After another 3 days, they arrived at the Golden Sword Sect. The Golden Sword Sect was too majestic. It was more majestic and powerful than any other sect that Lu Ming had seen before. The Golden Sword Sect was the top sect in the Golden Light Domain. Although it was a subsidiary sect of the Emperor Sky Divine Palace, the Golden Sword Sect's authority in the Golden Light Domain was as great as the Emperor Sky Divine Palace. Moreover, the Golden Sword Sect also had an interdomain transfer formation that could teleport them to other domains. They were going to take the interdomain transfer formation of the Golden Sword Sect to the Heavenly Domain. Jian Filiu had a very high status in the Golden Sword Sect. He was the #1 genius of the Golden Sword Sect. After returning, Lu Ming and Xian Yinqing naturally received a grand reception. Brother Lu, Miss Xia, we might have to stay at the Golden Sword Sect for 2 days. This time, the Golden Sword Sect will send a group of peak kings to compete for the Heavenly Domain list. Kenfei Ryu said as he led Lu Ming and Xian Yinqing to an elegant courtyard. It's fine. Lu Ming smiled and said, could it be that all the peak kings in the Eastern Wilderness will be gathered this time? Gathering all the peak kings is naturally a bit exaggerated. However, most of the peak kings with profound strength will participate. Of course, this refers to humans. The Sky Demon Valley's demon race will not participate. Also, the Talisman Puppet Sect will not participate. Kenfei Ryu said, why won't the Talisman Puppet Sect participate? Lu Ming's heart stirred. He was somewhat curious. because the heavenly domain list only focuses on the martial Dao. Inscription Dao will not gain any benefits. Kenfei Ryu explained. Lu Ming nodded. He had a rough idea. Chapter 726. 2 days later, the Golden Sword sect sent 29 Peak Kings to the Heavenly King domain. Including Kenfei Ryu, there were 30 of them. Among them, some were very old, and some were in their 30s. The oldest were 2 Peak Kings who were close to 1,000 years old. Seeing that their lifespans were about to reach the end, they wanted to try their luck. If they were lucky, they might be able to break through to the spiritual sea realm and increase their lifespan by 1,000 years. Including Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing, there were 32 people in total. They stepped onto the teleportation array and headed to the Heavenly King domain. The Heavenly King domain was a very special place in the Eastern Wilderness. The Heavenly King domain was very small, only 1/10 the size of the Tianxian domain. It was the smallest domain in the Eastern Wilderness and lacked resources. There were almost no powerful factions here. Moreover, it was located at the border between the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace and the Heavenly Corpse sect. Hence, it was a lawless area. Neither of the 2 overlords occupied it. However, that didn't stop him from being famous in the Eastern Wilderness. He was the Heavenly King Steel. The 2 Heavenly King Steels were located in the Heavenly King domain. Every 3 years, the Heavenly King Steel would open, and the Heavenly King ranking would be held there. Countless Peak Kings would gather here. Around the Heavenly King Steel, there were dozens of large cities built within a few hundred miles. These large cities were usually empty, but when the Heavenly King Steel opened, they would be filled with people. So many people. Looking at the city in front of him where people were flying to and fro, Lu Ming was somewhat shocked. Every single one of these people was a Peak King. Apart from the Sky Demon Valley and the Talisman Puppet sect, all the Peak Kings in the Eastern Wilderness have come. This time, there will be at least hundreds of thousands of Peak Kings. Kenfei Ryu said. Lu Ming sighed. Then, the group flew toward a large city. After flying into the city, they landed on a street and looked for an inn to stay in. It was full. They looked for 2 more inns, but they were all full. They only found an empty room in the 3rd one. Brother Lu, let's go out and find a place to drink. After arranging the rooms, Kenfei Ryu found Lu Ming. All right. Lu Ming nodded. Together with Xian Yanqing, the 3 of them walked outside. In the Golden Sword sect team, only the 3 of them were young people. The youngest of the others was over 30 years old. They had no common topics to talk about, so the 3 of them were closer. This small city was quite spacious. However, the streets were still bustling with people. There were fewer young people, and more of them were older. Each of them had a strong and powerful aura, and it was obvious that they were experts. The 3 of them strolled around for a while, and then walked into a restaurant. They ordered some dishes and wine, and as they ate, they listened to the conversations of the people around them to see if they could get some information. These 2 days have been so lively. There are so many experts. With so many people fighting for the final 108 spots, the competition will be extremely intense. It's going to be even more intense this year. In the past, the top 10 spots were usually taken by the young geniuses, while the rest of the spots were split equally between the young and the old. However, this year is different. There are many terrifying young geniuses who are extremely powerful. That's right. Everyone knows this. Even the Tianji Chamber of Commerce didn't rearrange the list of top 1,000 talents. Otherwise, the list would have changed long ago. That's right. If the list of top 1,000 talents was rearranged, those at the bottom of the list, such as Gao Chong, Qin Qingshan, Sheng Xingchen, and the others, would have been kicked out of the list. Many people were drinking and chatting around them.
Bam!
Suddenly, a young man slammed his hand on the table. He glanced at another table and said coldly, "You're just a frog at the bottom of a well. What do you know about geniuses?" This young man was tall and burly, with strong muscles and a powerful aura. One could tell at a glance that he was an expert. At another table sat 3 men in gray robes. They were the ones who had said that the last few spots on the list of top 1,000 talents would be kicked out. Hee what? Did I say something wrong? One of the young men sneered. You're not on the list of top 1,000 talents. How do you know how powerful the geniuses on the list are? The burly young man sneered.
Oh?
So you're a genius on the list of top 1,000 talents? The young man in gray robes smiled faintly. I'm Gao Chong. The burly young man said proudly. As soon as he said this, the other people in the restaurant were moved. Gao Chong was ranked last on the list of top 1,000 talents, but no matter what his rank was, he was still a genius on the list of top 1,000 talents. His strength and talent were absolutely amazing.
Oh.
I was wondering who you were. So you're Gao Chong, ranked last on the list of top 1,000 talents. Hee, a beauty like you should have been kicked out long ago. The young man in gray robes was not surprised at all. Instead, he sneered. That means you're very strong. I'd like to see how strong you are. Gao Chong stood up. His eyes were cold, and his aura was violent like a fierce beast. You want to fight?
Fine.
Today, I'll let you know how useless you are. The young man in gray robes sneered and stood up as well, exuding a cold aura. Let's go out and fight. With that, Gao Chong rushed out of the restaurant and flew up into the sky. Senior brothers, let's continue drinking when I come back. The young man in gray robes laughed and rushed out of the restaurant and flew up into the sky. The others in the restaurant also flew out to watch the fight with great interest. After all, one of them was on the list of top 1,000 talents. Even if he was ranked last, his combat strength was definitely not weak. Who was the young man in gray robes? He was so confident that he did not seem to take Gao Chong seriously. The other people in the surroundings also gathered around. That's Gao Chong. Someone recognized Gao Chong. In an instant, a large number of people gathered in all directions. Let's see what you're capable of. How dare you speak so arrogantly? Gao Chong's aura was getting more and more terrifying. He was like an Archean fierce beast, choosing its prey.
Boom. Boom.
He took a step forward, causing the space to rumble and terrifying energy to run rampant. Beast Frenzy Fist. Gao Chong punched out. The roar of a beast was heard and heaven and earth trembled. Child's play. The young man in gray robe sneered. Layers of black mist spread out from his body. The black mist kept twisting and distorting, and shrill ghost cries could be heard. The young man in gray robes clawed out. A black river appeared in the void, and a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood appeared in it.
Bam.
Gao Chong's fist and the young man in gray robes' claw collided. Suddenly, a terrifying force ran rampant. Gao Chong's expression changed drastically. He stepped into the void and retreated continuously. The crowd was shocked. Gao Chong, a genius on the list of top 1,000 talents, was at a disadvantage in one move. How could this be? Chapter 727. What's the use of activating your bloodline? Underworld Claw. The gray-robed youth struck out with his claw again, and a terrifying river wrapped around his arm. Ghostly wails and wolf howls filled the air. Gao Chong roared and rushed forward. His energy was rampant, and the terrifying fist light caused the void to tremble.
Bam. Bam.
There was a roar, but after a few moves, Gao Chong was forced to retreat. His body was covered in a layer of black mist, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Gao Chong had been defeated. He was no match for the gray-robed youth, but the gray-robed youth seemed relaxed. Obviously, the gap between them was too big. Who are you? Gao Chong roared unwillingly. Gui Jiao from the Heavenly Corpse sect. The gray-robed youth replied indifferently. He's a genius from the Heavenly Corpse sect, Gui Jiao. I've never heard of him. He must be a rising genius. Sure enough, there are more and more geniuses nowadays. Many people sighed. So this is your strength. How disappointing. Someone like you should have been removed from the list of top 1,000 talents long ago. Gui Jiao sneered, then stepped out and returned to the restaurant. He's actually a genius from the Heavenly Corpse sect. The cultivation method of the Heavenly Corpse sect is extremely strange. Ordinary people can't resist it, Lu Ming said. When he was in the Tianxian domain, he had encountered the Heavenly Corpse sect. They were all using refined corpses to fight, so their combat strength was not strong. Later, when he met Shuigang in the chaotic astral sea, he realized that the Heavenly Corpse sect did not necessarily rely on refined corpses. There were also some who did not rely on refined corpses, but their cultivation method and comprehension of essence were extremely strange and powerful. It was not without reason that the Heavenly Corpse sect could rise in such a short time and contend with the Emperor, Heaven Divine Palace. This sentence was heard by Gao Chang. His gaze turned cold. He took a step forward and walked toward Lu Ming. Lad, what did you say? Ordinary people can't resist it? That means you're not an ordinary person. I'd like to see it for myself. Gao Chang had just been defeated by Guizhou, so he felt like he had lost face and was in a bad mood. Then, he happened to hear Lu Ming say that the Heavenly Corpse sect's cultivation method wasn't something ordinary people could resist. Did that mean that he, Gao Chang, was no ordinary person? As a genius on the list of top 1,000 talents, he had always been proud and arrogant. But today, he had been easily defeated by Guizhou and then called an ordinary person by a kid who had appeared out of nowhere. He could not control his anger. He wanted to regain some face from Lu Ming. Lu Ming was speechless. He had only given an objective evaluation, and now he was being targeted. Brother Gao, I'm not talking about you. Many people do have headaches when they encounter the Heavenly Corpse sect's bizarre techniques. Lu Ming explained, Shut up. Who do you think you are to call me brother? Also, do you mean that many geniuses on the list of top 1,000 talents are no match for Guizhou, but you can? Gao Chang berated and asked Lu Ming in return. Lu Ming frowned. Was Gao Chang out of his mind? Gao Chang, I advise you to get lost. Don't be so shameless. Jian Filiu shouted coldly from the side, his expression unsightly. Their argument aroused the curiosity of others, who all looked over. Who are these young people? It seems that Gao Chang wants to regain some face from them. Don't kick an iron plate again. Someone sneered. How can it be so easy? Gao Chang is still very strong. How can he be so unlucky to kick an iron plate so easily? The people at the side were discussing and watching with great interest. Gao Chang's face turned even colder after being berated by Kenfei Ryu. His eyes were like a fierce beast as he looked at Kenfei Ryu and said, Boy, I'm going to break one of your arms today, because of what you said.
Boom.
Gao Chang's aura was violent as he threw a punch at Kenfei Ryu. Kenfei Ryu's eyes turned cold. His eyes emitted a golden light as he pointed his finger at Gao Chang. A golden sword light flashed, as if it could cut through everything. Gao Chang's fist light was cut in half like tofu. The sword light did not stop and continued to slash at Gao Chang's arm. Gao Chang was shocked and retreated frantically. At the same time, he activated his bloodline, and his body swelled rapidly. His aura became stronger.
Slash.
Jian Filiu's eyes had turned golden, and his body emitted a sharp aura, like a peerless sword. Swoosh. The golden light of the sword surged and cut through the void in an instant. Then, a shrill scream was heard. Everyone saw Gao Chang frantically retreat, and one of his arms was gone. Gao Chang said that he wanted to break one of Kenfei Ryu's arms. Now, Kenfei Ryu cut off Gao Chang's arm with a sword. Crushing, it was a complete crushing.
Who are you?
Gao Chang roared frantically. He channeled his genuine core energy to seal the wound so that it would stop bleeding. His eyes were red. It was too tragic. With one of his arms cut off, his vitality was greatly damaged. He was doomed to lose to the other geniuses. He was angry and unwilling to accept this. Kenfei Ryu. Kenfei Ryu announced his name. Kenfei Ryu. So, it's Kenfei Ryu. Kenfei Ryu is ranked 788th on the list of top 1,000 talents. He's hundreds of ranks higher than Gao Chang. The gap is too big. No wonder it's so one-sided. Gao Chang is so unlucky to have met Kenfei Ryu. First, he met the genius of the Heavenly Corpse sect, and now he's met Kenfei Ryu. He's too arrogant. He thinks he's in his palm-sized territory. What is this place? Now that so many experts have gathered in the Heavenly Monarch domain, isn't he courting death? That's right. Who are those two young men? Since they're standing next to Kenfei Ryu, they must be powerful. Are they also top geniuses on the list of top 1,000 talents? Even if they're not on the list of top 1,000 talents, they're still very powerful. There was a lot of discussion around them. Kenfei Ryu, fine. I admit defeat. Gao Chang bellowed furiously, like an injured wild beast. He looked toward Lu Ming with murderous intent. It was all his fault. If not for Lu Ming's words, he would not have gone to Lu Ming and offended Kenfei Ryu. It was all Lu Ming's fault. If not for Kenfei Ryu, he would have killed Lu Ming right then and there. Lu Ming! At this moment, there was a long whistle and several streams of light flew over. The light dissipated and several figures appeared. Qin Qingfei? Qin Qingshan? Lu Ming was stunned. He did not expect to see Qin Qingfei and Qin Qingshan here. Behind them was an old man. Lu Ming, I didn't expect to see you here. Haha, it's time to settle our scores. Qin Qingfei sneered. His aura was strong. Obviously, after this period of time, Qin Qingfei's cultivation had broken through to the peak realm. With trash like you? Lu Ming glanced at him and said disdainfully, "What did you say? Don't think you can be arrogant just because you have some strength. Let me tell you, there are many people who can suppress you. Let's see who can save you today." Qin Qingfei sneered. Is that so? Well, I'll settle the score with you for that day. Chapter 728. Lu Ming could still clearly remember how Qin Qingfei and Qin Qingshan had targeted him in Hong Domain. If Yan Kuangtu had not appeared, he might not have been able to return to Tianxian Domain in time for Mulan's and Sheng Xingchen's wedding. Actually, since this matter had passed, he would let it pass. Lu Ming did not have the time to specially go to Hongyu to find trouble with Qin Qingfei and the rest. However, the two of them had taken the initiative to jump in front of Lu Ming and make a fuss. Lu Ming naturally had to settle the score. Seeing Lu Ming step forward, Qin Qingfei's expression changed, and he could not help but take a step back. Back then, Lu Ming could compete with Qin Qingshan, but he was no match for him. Lu Ming, your opponent is me. Qin Qingshan took a step forward, and his aura exploded as he stood opposite Lu Ming. Lu Ming, we were unable to determine the winner in our previous battle. Today, let's see who's stronger. Qin Qingshan's eyes were filled with a strong desire to fight. What a lively day! The surrounding people watched excitedly. At this time, someone had recognized Qin Qingshan, which naturally made the surrounding people excited. Today, first there was Gao Chang, who was at the bottom of the list of top 1,000 talents. Then, there was Kenfei Ryu. Now, there was another genius on the list of top 1,000 talents, Qin Qingshan. Qin Qingshan was ranked one place higher than Gao Chang. Looks like I don't have to do anything. I'd like to see how strong this kid is to dare to speak so arrogantly. Gao Chang sneered in his heart. Come on, use all your strength. I'll give you 2 chances to make 2 moves. Lu Ming said flatly. It was obvious that Lu Ming would only give him 2 chances to make 2 moves. After that, he would not have the chance to attack. Confidence and arrogance. Shameless boasting. Qin Qingshan shouted coldly as his aura burst out violently. This aura was extremely cold, as if it could freeze everything. Ice crystals appeared in the air, and even the air was frozen. Qin Qingshan's body became transparent. Even his hair became snow white. Qin Qingshan seemed to have turned into an ice man, his aura growing stronger and stronger. This was Qin Qingshan's bloodline's secret technique. Facing Lu Ming, he did not dare to be careless. The moment he attacked, he used his ultimate skill. Slash. Qin Qingshan shouted loudly and slashed out a mighty blade light. The blade light broke through the sky and was incomparably cold. It slashed towards Lu Ming's head. His aura was much stronger than Gao Chang's. Many people narrowed their eyes. Qin Qingshan's battle prowess was extremely strong. In these few years, he had made great progress. It was likely that with his current battle prowess, he was no longer just ranked 999th. Boom. Lu Ming stood motionless in the air. Just as the saber light was about to fall, Lu Ming punched out. A dazzling fist radiance pierced through the void and collided with the saber radiance. With a loud boom, the saber radiance shattered. Not bad. You've improved a little compared to before. But is that all? The difference is too great. Lu Ming said indifferently. His tone was calm, as though he had done something insignificant. Qin Qingshan's eyes narrowed rapidly. There was a look of disbelief in his eyes. Lu Ming had actually broken his attack so easily. How could he be so strong? Take another move from me? Qin Qingshan roared. His eyeballs turned snow-white. His true core strength exploded wildly. Around his body, the cold air kept shrinking.
Swoosh.
Qin Qingshan and his saber became one and turned into an ice-cold saber. In the world, it was as though there was only a ray of blade light left. So strong. Retreat quickly. The surrounding people retreated quickly to avoid being injured by the wanton ice-cold blade light. However, Lu Ming still stood calmly in the air. When the blade light neared, he still only punched out. The blade light was shattered by the fist radiance. Qin Qingshan retreated in disbelief. Qin Qingshan, although you are much stronger than Gao Chang, you're still far from him. A faint voice came from Lu Ming's mouth. Then, a vast spear radiance exploded from Lu Ming's hand and smashed towards Qin Qingshan. This spear radiance was unstoppable and completely locked onto Qin Qingshan.
Boom.
Qin Qingshan felt as though he had been hit by a divine mountain. He was blasted to the ground and smashed into the street below, creating a large crater. If not for the timely protection of the experts below, half of the city would have been razed to the ground. Qin Qingshan had been defeated. He had been defeated so thoroughly and so easily. Before he made his move, Lu Ming had told him to do his best and that he only had 2 chances. Previously, some people had thought that Lu Ming was too arrogant. However, the truth had proven that Lu Ming was speaking the truth. Once he made his move, Qin Qingshan really did not have a chance to retaliate. Many people around were guessing who Lu Ming was. He was so powerful that Qin Qingshan, who was on a list of top 1,000 talents, could not even fight back. There are too many rising geniuses now. Geniuses after the 900th place in the previous list of top 1,000 talents are in danger. There is a high chance that they will be kicked out of the list of top 1,000 talents, especially the last few. It's almost certain that they will be kicked out of the list of top 1,000 talents. Not to mention those after the 900th place, even those after the 800th place may be kicked out if they do not improve quickly. Many people around were discussing in shock. Gao Chang stared at Lu Ming with his mouth agape, his face drained of blood. Just now, he had wanted to teach Lu Ming a lesson. Given his strength, teaching Lu Ming a lesson would be suicide. Thinking of this, his heart trembled. Freaks, they are all freaks. Gao Chang roared helplessly in his heart. He was too unlucky today. Usually, he was invincible among the younger generation in his domain, which made him extremely confident. He even took it to heart that he was ranked last on the list of top 1,000 talents. He thought that with his talent he could at least be ranked in the top hundreds. But today, reality had given him a heavy blow. Not to mention the list of top 1,000 talents, any random young man would be stronger than him. At this moment, he was extremely dejected. Qin Qingfei, who was standing to the side, was also dumbfounded. In his heart, his elder brother had always been powerful and invincible. However, in Lu Ming's hands, he was as weak as a baby. How could this be possible? 7 or 8 months ago, Lu Ming was still suppressed by his elder brother. How could he be so strong now?
Swoosh.
Suddenly, a figure moved and appeared in front of him. It was Lu Ming. What do you want? Qin Qingshan screamed in fear. It's simple. I'll take one of your arms, and we'll be even. Lu Ming said lightly. No. Qin Qingfei screamed and retreated quickly. Don't hurt young Master Qingfei. The elder behind Qin Qingfei roared. His genuine core strength surged out violently, and a terrifying attack poured down on Lu Ming like a storm. This elder was also a peak king, but his combat strength was extremely strong. He was definitely an old man who had cultivated for more than 500 years and had come to participate in the Heavenly King list battle. Get lost. Lu Ming did not even look at him. He kicked out with the power of the 9 dragons' sky-stomping steps and instantly defeated all of the elder's attacks. The elder screamed and flew far away, coughing up blood. The crowd was even more shocked. Lu Ming was too strong. The elder's combat strength was definitely not weaker than Qin Qingshan's, but in front of Lu Ming, he was as helpless as a chicken. The difference was too great. Chapter 729. Qin Qingfei let out a hysterical shriek. Get lost. Lu Ming shouted coldly. Instantly, Qin Qingfei didn't dare to cry out anymore. He endured the pain and left with Qin Qingshan dejectedly. He had come aggressively and left in a sorry state. Lu Ming was extremely calm as he looked at the shocked gazes around him. Defeating Qin Qingshan was not a big deal at all. In his heart, he had long stopped seeing Qin Qingshan as an opponent. In his heart, his opponents were the kings ranked at the top of the list of top 1,000 talents, and even the 10 kings who had made it into the top 600 with the help of the King Realm. They were as famous as the Sea of Soul Realm geniuses. Those were his true opponents. He turned around and strolled back. Brother Jian, let's go in and continue drinking, Lu Ming said, but Kenfei Ryu did not respond. He was slightly stunned and looked at Kenfei Ryu. Jian Filiu was staring blankly in a certain direction, his eyes lifeless. Lu Ming followed Kenfei Ryu's gaze and saw a few figures. One was a tall young man in a red scaled battle robe. The other was a young woman with a graceful figure and extremely beautiful features. Behind the two of them were 2 other old men. Kenfei Ryu's gaze was always on the woman. The woman lowered her head, as if she did not dare to look up.
Clap. Clap.
The young man in the scaled battle robe clapped his hands and strolled toward Lu Ming and the others. He smiled and said, I didn't expect to meet such experts here. Not bad, not bad. Isn't this Brother Jian? Wang Meng. Kenfei Ryu looked at the young man and said in a low voice, Haha, Kenfei Ryu, what's wrong? Are you here to participate in the Heavenly King list battle? With your cultivation, you might die here. Wang Meng's lips curled into a mocking smile. It's none of your business whether I live or die. Brother Lu, let's go. Kenfei Ryu said and turned to leave. Haha, Kenfei Ryu, aren't you going to greet your junior sister? Wang Meng laughed uproariously. His muscular arms wrapped around the beautiful woman beside him. That woman trembled, but she didn't dare to resist. Jian Filiu's body trembled slightly as he clenched his fists. Haha, Jian Filiu, back then I said that as long as I took a fancy to your junior sister, she would be mine. Now, didn't she still become my wife? Speaking of which, your junior sister's figure and skin are really comfortable to touch. Wang Meng laughed heartily. His large hand began to knead the woman's chest without the slightest bit of restraint. The woman's body trembled, but she did not make a sound. Haha, Jian Filiu clenched his fists tightly. His eyes were red, and his teeth were clenched. What? If you want to hit me, then why aren't you making a move? Wang Meng coldly shouted. Kenfei Ryu's breathing became heavy. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing's eyes turned cold, and a powerful aura emanated from their bodies. Brother Lu, Miss Xia, let's go, Kenfei Ryu said. His voice was hoarse and seemed to be filled with endless anger. Lu Ming frowned. He felt that this matter was very complicated. He did not understand the situation, and it was inconvenient for him to make a move. Jian Filiu glanced at the woman again, then turned around and left with large strides. "Let's go," Lu Ming said to Xian Yanqing and turned to leave. "What a piece of trash." Wang Meng's disdainful voice came from behind. The three of them did not return to the restaurant. Instead, they returned to the inn. On the way, Kenfei Ryu did not make a sound. His eyes were red and his fists were clenched. After returning to the inn, Kenfei Ryu spoke. "Brother Lu, Miss Xia, are you curious why I didn't make a move just now?" Kenfei Ryu said. "Wang Meng? I remember that he's ranked 700th on the list of top 1,000 talents. Could it be him?" Lu Ming said. Kenfei Ryu nodded and said, "It's him. But I didn't make a move not because he's ranked higher than me, but because he's a direct descendant of an ancient family, the Wang family." "The Wang family?" "The Wang family, one of the 6 ancient aristocratic families?" Lu Ming frowned. "That's right." Jian Filia nodded, then sighed and said, "The 6 ancient families are too powerful. I'm not afraid, but I have to think for the Golden Sword sect. Moreover, I have to think for my junior sister." "Are the 6 ancient families really that powerful?" Lu Ming asked. "Of course." "Lu Ming, I think you should learn more. Don't you know some common sense?" Xian Yanqing rolled her eyes at Lu Ming. Lu Ming touched his nose awkwardly. "Miss Xia is right. The 6 great ancient clans are terrifyingly strong. Back then, when Emperor Di founded the Empyrean Divine Palace, there were 9 great ancient clans. They followed Emperor Di to conquer the world. These 9 great ancient clans are called the 9 great ancient clans. Each of the ancient clans had incredible natural talents. After that, Emperor Di gave them a godly level skill as their ultimate skill. After that, the 9 ancient clans became even more powerful. As time passed, 3 of the 9 ancient clans disappeared. Now only 6 of them are left. These 6 ancient families can be said to be the strongest forces of the Emperor Heaven's Divine Palace. All of them are located in the 9 Dragon City of the Tianwu region. Their strength isn't something that the branch palaces of the major regions can compare to. Kenfei Ryu explained. They have divine-level cultivation skills? Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. That's right. It's said that the god-level techniques of the ancient aristocratic families complement their bloodlines, and their power is extremely terrifying. For example, our Golden Sword sect can be said to be very powerful in the Golden Light region. We can cover the sky with one hand and have experts at the peak of the spirit embryo realm. However, we're still far inferior to the ancient aristocratic families. Every ancient aristocratic family has many powerful existences at the spiritual god realm. Kenfei Ryu sighed. Lu Ming nodded. That was indeed the case. Such an ancient family could annihilate the Golden Sword sect as long as they sent out a spiritual god. What's the matter with that woman? Lu Ming asked curiously. Kenfei Ryu didn't answer. He seemed to be deep in thought. If Brother Jian can't answer, then forget it, Lu Ming said.
Sigh.
It's nothing much. That girl was originally my junior sister, and we were childhood sweethearts. Once we went out to train and we met Wang Meng. That Wang Meng took a fancy to my junior sister at first glance, and then he sent people from the Wang clan to the Golden Sword sect to propose marriage. The Wang clan is a colossus, so the elders of the Golden Sword sect were naturally willing. What's laughable is that my junior sister was also willing, haha. Haha. Kenfei Ryu laughed at himself after he finished speaking. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing's eyes flickered, but they didn't say anything else. Kenfei Ryu said it simply, but the two of them could roughly guess. Lu Ming couldn't help but think of Liu Yao. Wasn't Liu Yao the same back then? He abandoned him in order to climb up to a stronger force. This kind of thing didn't just happen to Lu Ming. It happened everywhere in the martial Dao world where the strong preyed on the weak. There's no need to be too afraid. When the War of Providence comes, there are rules everywhere. The older generation isn't allowed to interfere in the battles of the younger generation. Even if Wang Meng is killed, the elders of the Wang clan can't interfere. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.